Hello my gorgeous co-creators of the new paradigm. I am here today to speak about eclipses, both solar and lunar. How can we use these beautiful reflections of the cosmos in our inner journey, in our self-exploration? How can we use them as tools? So I'm gonna share with you how I have been using these particular phenomena, and I'm gonna give you some general interpretations as I have come to understand these, you could say, cosmic reflections that we co-create on a collective consciousness level once in a while throughout our collective journey as well. You see, everything that we are observing around us, everything that we can perceive is something that we resonate with on the same wavelength and is a projection of our bigger selves. So that includes the cosmos, the stars, the sun and the moon. Now, when we look up at the stars, what we're really doing in a sense, we're looking in this huge, beautiful mirror. And the movements of the planetary bodies in many ways can tell us a lot of things about ourselves. Now, of course, you are familiar with the idea of astrology, and a lot of people use this beautiful cosmic mirror for their own inner guidance and to understand better what is going on a planetary level, what we as a human race are traveling through, what our themes are, our common themes, and what our personal themes are when you do individually, you could say, calculated astrology readings and so forth. Nonetheless, all of this, of course, is a permission slip. It is a tool as valid as any other. What I do really love about this particular tool, though, is that it is interstellar. It is connecting us to the cosmos. And obviously, as an ET channeler, well, that gives me a kind of special relationship to it. Or I'm choosing to believe that I have. So right now we are pretty much in the middle of a big eclipse wave. We are having 3 eclipses in a row in only a span of about a month time, a little bit more. So the most recent partial solar eclipse we just had was on the 13th of July 2018. Another one that we will be having is a full moon eclipse, which is right around the corner, which will be on the 27th of July. And then on the 11th of August 2018, we will be having another partial solar eclipse. So that is basically 3 in a row. You could easily say that. To me, that reflects this like condensed high amount of eclipses. To me, that reflects how ready we are for change, how strongly we are inviting ourselves to accelerate, to move, to transform certain things. And I'm going to explain to you why. So a lot of the things that I'm sharing here are a mix between my personal opinion and what I've learned from the interaction with Arjun of the YahYel, the guide that I channel. So I've always been very sensitive to these kind of things myself. And I must say, I'm not even so much following any kind of astrology updates. It's more that I can literally sense, it's like something in the air when a big astrological event is coming up, and eclipses, I definitely see them as big astrological events. So I feel it. It's like sometimes it's like a pressure cooker, like the energy is getting much more dense. Sometimes it's getting really light. Sometimes I just notice it because my dreams are like crazy lucid, or the out-of-body experiences are just one after another. And this happens a lot for me when it's full moon and when we are getting closer to, during and after solar eclipses. So this is a really interesting roller coaster that we are on right now. And whether you have this particular sensitivity for yourself or not, doesn't really matter. I will just give you some general tools and a general way to look at the reflections that solar and lunar eclipses offer us to play with and to deepen our own self-knowledge and spiritual journey. So usually I would feel this kind of like sneak up to me, and then when I feel the energies densifying in a sense around me, that's when I look up the astrology reports on the internet and I check, you know, what's coming up now or what just happened, what's going on, and often it clarifies a lot for me. So that's me choosing to use that as a tool, as a mirror, as a reflection for myself in my own journey. So whether you do that or not, doesn't matter. But here it comes. Lunar eclipses. I'm just going to start with that because we've got this one coming up real soon. And this is a full eclipse, so it's, you know, full on. So the moon, to begin with, obviously it has a very different kind of energy than the sun does. So the moon, to me, I really thought about this before making this video. How am I going to make this? How could I make a nice analogy to explain the energy frequency of the moon? Now, a lot of terms have been used to label the energy of the moon: feminine, yin energy, the unseen, the unknown. But really, I like this particular comparison that I came up with. So I'm just going to share it with you. You know, when somebody writes you a letter and you read it and you just know, you just feel in your entire system that whatever they're writing is not what they're saying. You know what I mean? You know, it's like a facade, but they're not actually saying what they're saying. So the actual message is between the lines, but you can't grasp it completely. So you know it's there, but you can't pinpoint it. You can't really put your finger on it. That is lunar energy. I'm using this particular analogy because to me it feels like the energy of the moon, this yin energy, is the ungraspable. It's something that's right there. It is right there, but you can't completely grasp it. And it is just under the surface. And sometimes it's a little deeper than just under the surface. But you sense it, but often it's like a blind spot for us. But we want to know it though. There's this longing, you want to know. It's like you want to reach through that letter out to the author of the letter and say, hey, what do you really mean? Come on, tell me, tell me. And so the reason why I make this analogy also is because the moon reflects its light to us. Now both the sun and the moon represent light. They bring us light. They bring us information. They bring us insights, downloads, like some kind of huge hubs. Perhaps you could even call it crystals, although we don't see them as crystals. They are vortices in themselves. They have the power to amplify certain messages, to bring them to us directly or indirectly. So the moon is very clearly the indirect information that comes through a back door, kind of takes a little bit of a way around, and it's representing that to us by reflecting the solar light back to our earth. So when the moon eclipses, when it is being darkened or hidden temporarily by the shadow of our own planet, and we look at that, basically the message that I've come to understand that we are sending ourselves is look, this light represents this deeper layer within you that wants to shine, that wants to be seen, and that is often suppressed or a blind spot, like I said before. And by having the shadow cover up the moon, this is what you're looking at. You're being invited to look inward. The light, the distraction, the reflection is turned off. Now you're going to have to look inside. You're going to have to look at the shadow. You have to face it. That's basically what the lunar eclipse is showing us. And then when it reappears, the light of the moon comes back, because the sun can shine on the moon again and we move out of the way. Basically, that's what's happening. And isn't that beautiful? We move out of the way. That's really what's going on. That's really what this message is about. So we, as the Earth planet, we move out of the way so the sun can hit the moon again and the moon can reflect its light back to us. And this is a new moon, basically, because you are a new person in every single moment. And the moon that we saw or that we looked at before it went through the eclipse was a different moon. So now the moon comes out of it, it's a new moon. It's a new, brand new version of itself. It went through the darkness and resurfaced into the light. And that is the example. That's what I feel a lunar eclipse is telling us. Go inward, sit still, be still, take a deep breath, close your eyes. Sense whatever wants to be sensed. Go to these emotions that you have been feeling pushing upward, but that you haven't released, that you haven't transformed yet. Find them, redefine them, and by doing that, you release. So to give an example of that, you may have felt this like sneaking kind of let's say, I'm thinking of an example on the spot right here, sneaking with kind of sadness, like hanging around you, and you felt it for days or maybe even for weeks, and you never really took a moment to sit down and ask yourself, what's going on? What is this feeling coming from? So the way I've understood it from my guides up to now is that every single emotion that is of a lower energy frequency really functions as a messenger. So you feel an emotion that is of a lower energy frequency, and it's a messenger to let you know that something that you're believing to be true in that moment is out of alignment with who you really are, with what is your true nature, which is unconditional love always. So what you want to do is sit down, take that moment, find that sadness, in a sense, tune in with it. Don't avoid it, go for it, look at it. Tune in with it and ask yourself, while you're allowing yourself to fully feel it, to really dive into it, even if that means that you start crying, so be it. Just, fully be with that emotion, because only by going there, it can tell you what it is about, what its function is. So this is the whole purpose, in a sense, of having low energy frequency emotions, because they want to wake us up. They want to let us know, hey, hello, you have something in the background, or some kind of belief that really isn't serving you right now, because it is not in alignment with who you really are. So when you align with that emotion, you acknowledge it. And just doing that often brings a lot of relief, because you're no longer running away from it. And running away from something is a lot more tiring than just looking it straight in the eyes and asking, what is this about? So you align with that emotion, and by asking yourself, what is it that I believe to be true right now that makes me feel this way? The emotion then can pinpoint you to the belief. So it will come to you in that moment. Perhaps it will be something like, oh my God, I never really realized, but I'm actually very unhappy in the job that I'm in. And by discovering that belief, you can ask yourself, you can go into an inner dialogue, you can ask yourself, okay, so what is it that I believe to be true about my job? How do I look at the future? Quote unquote, the future. So perhaps your belief about your job is that you feel trapped, that you don't see any other way out, that you feel obligated to keep this job and it feels suffocating. And maybe you don't have any ideas or inspirations right now for where else it might go or how that may evolve. And you're just walking around with that. No wonder you're feeling more and more sad. So your higher self knows that there is an infinite amount of possibilities right here, right now, open for you. Other paths that you could walk, solutions to any question you might ever have. It's all right there. It's in your higher self's awareness. And it's sending you these messages 24/7 through intuition, through dreams, whatever. But if you have negative belief systems in place in your mind, in your rational mind, these inspirational messages can't reach you. You can't hear them because what you believe is stronger, appears to be stronger, that's how you create it in that moment, than the answers that you're actually looking for. So you're playing a game of hide and seek. You're playing a game of hide and find. And that is exactly what the moon and the sun are showing us when they're eclipsing. I'm not even sure if that's actually a verb, but I'm just gonna go with it. So that's what they're showing us. Now, if you find such a negative belief system within yourself about, for instance, your job in this example, you might want to redefine it to, for instance, okay, I can see clearly that this job is something I do not prefer. So actually that is a good discovery. That's clarity. You could say that's a bummer, but you could also say, no, that's clarity. It's good that I'm clear about this. It feels strong. It feels self-empowering to be clear about that. And then you might want to say, okay, so I don't prefer this job. I may not right now be able to rationally figure out how I will make the jump from here to a more preferred state of being, but I do know of other people who were in a lousy job that they really did not like to begin with, and who ended up in a really nice place, in a really nice position, or maybe starting their own job or their own company, who knows. So if you don't know of such people, I would recommend you Google, find stories about this, because there are so many examples of people who came out of what seemed to be a very, very suppressing situation and found a solution, actually who allowed a solution to manifest in their worlds. So this is the thing. You want to underline, you want to strengthen your energy frequency of allowance. And it doesn't open up, this doesn't begin flowing through your system as long as you have a very narrow-minded, insisting point of view on the reality that you have right now created yourself to be focused in. So with the job situation, when you bring in the storylines of other people who did find a way out, you can just like copy paste that example of these people on top of your situation and decide for yourself, just because you say so, that you're gonna from now on look at your situation the same way. You can decide for yourself, I don't know how, I don't know when, but I'm just deciding to look at my situation the way I see they had their journey. So this job one day is gonna end. Some solution will come. I'm deciding right now that I'm open for new input, for surprises. And I'm gonna look at my job where I am right now as a springboard, as a starting point for more beautiful things to come. By deciding to look at your job in that way from then on, you have transformed your resistance into acceptance. And by doing that, you open the doors for new possibilities to actually manifest into your awareness. So it's really important that you have no insistence as to what the particular outcome will be. Because as soon as you insist, you narrow down the amount of possibilities again. Because you tell yourself, this is the only way wherein this can transform. Which is not true. It is simply not true. There's always multiple possibilities. And our rational mind is simply not built to come up with all of these solutions. So I really like to tell myself when I don't know how something will resolve itself, I know for a fact that there are solutions that I cannot come up with right now. And just saying that brings me so much peace and such a nice feeling of, it's okay, I don't have to think about this because I couldn't if I even wanted to. I don't have to think about this because it's gonna present itself to me when the time is ready. And all I have to do in the meantime is be okay with what is right now, because as long as I resist what is right now, I'm not moving away from it. So this is what Arjun often says, who is the ET guide that I channel, Arjun of the YahYel. He uses this kind of like poetic joke on how we create our reality. He says hating it is dating it. So as long as you really, really are in full-on resistance against something, you are attaching yourself to it. So it's doing the actual perfect opposite thing. So the same thing goes for allowing some things to manifest into your reality that you really desire, in a sense, or would like to see a version of in your world. If this particular whatever it is truly relevant in your journey, it will manifest, but you're gonna have to be the allowing state of it. So in a sense, celebrating that you already have it, in a sense, is a really powerful way of manifesting something in your life, because you are the energy frequency of having it. And that means the universe has to go and fill in a blank, because it is, quote unquote, looking at you like, oh, wait a minute. How can you be so happy with this and this while it's not even there yet? So here you go. Now the puzzle is complete again. Now it makes sense again. Again, only if this is relevant for your journey. Because for some people, having a really big red Cadillac will never be really relevant. It doesn't help them on their actual, path. It doesn't fit in with the theme of their lives. They may get something close to it, but it may not be that. It may simply not add to the storyline that on a higher self level they have decided they wish to really go for. So you will always give yourself what you truly need. Becoming more aware of that is very, very helpful. Now, that's the moon. So the moon invites us to look at those deeper feelings, to discover what this is about, get it out in the open, shine a light on it, and then work with it, redefine, release. From the moon, we can go to the sun, the solar energy. Now, the solar energy is quite different. That's not so, like in the background. We're not gonna beat around the bush. This is what we're gonna do. This is what you wanna do. These are your wishes. Let's take action. Put it in the light. Bring it into the light. Ground it in the earth. Like embody it, be it, become it, speak it. All of these things are connected to solar energy. So it's about male energy, the yang. What it shows me when the when the sun goes through an eclipse, very often it triggers in us situations that are practical. So the difference with the moon energy is that if there's an emotional facet involved, then you're probably aware of that already. So you know what you're feeling, you know what you want, you know what you desire, you know what you want to go for. Maybe you've, written a book, but you're afraid to publish it. Or you have this amazing plan for building something, but you just never really feel like you're getting to it. Or anything in those lines. So it is actually really, really to the point, but you don't allow yourself to move into the direction of it. Or it's something that has not been working for a really long time, so you've been witnessing something like fall apart in front of your eyes, and it's not working, but you haven't taken a stand. You haven't said to this circumstance or person or whatever, this is not working for me. That's true, but you haven't expressed it. So speaking openly also has a lot to do with this solar energy. So whenever solar eclipse happens, I feel that a lot of these kind of subjects are being touched collectively and individually. Now, of course, this is up to you to play with in any way or form that you would like to. And there's many ways how you can use this. So for me, it brings a lot of ease in a sense to realize when stuff like that is happening, to see, okay, there's this acceleration. The cosmos is showing us that this is a theme that we are ready to look at yet again. Now, of course, every solar and lunar eclipse have multiple themes connected to them, and some of them are more intensive or can be more intensively experienced by people than others, and some of them open a new era, are a gateway to a new connection with other interstellar energies that we are anyway connected with in so many ways, but that this energy is strengthening or being boosted, that we are ready for yet a new download, a new layer, a new awakening. Every single lunar and solar eclipse in one way, shape or form shows us that. So what I'm sharing here is the general interpretation of eclipses and how you can use them, because they so beautifully fit in with the idea of hide and seek that we are playing here in this dimension. So with the solar eclipse, take that action. If you see that in the shadow, when you are also again being sent inward while the sun is being hidden from you, fully or partially, doesn't matter. When your light is being dimmed, in a sense, look at what your desires are. And the sun so strongly is connected also to the solar plexus, which is really the chakra that represents our, our engine, our motivation, our drive. What do we want in life? What do we wish to accomplish? What are our goals? And without rigidizing this particular idea of goals, because of course it is about the journey and not about any kind of end goal, but having a passion, acknowledging it, and taking action in the direction of that passion has a particular effect on your entire system, physically, mentally, emotionally. That is very beneficial, because you're basically stating to the universe, here I am. This is what I do. I create. I am. I acknowledge this projection as a part of me, as an extension of me. And so I feel free to dance with it, to play with it. And that is exactly what you do when you take action in the direction of your highest excitement. So, by transforming, in that sense, everything that is hidden and below the surface, bringing it up and acknowledging the emotions, releasing and redefining on the lunar side, and by bringing up all this build-up tension and all this energy that you've got going for you because you want to take action on your passion on the solar side, and actually taking that action, helping yourself ground and standing in your power. Doing both of these things, whether you're using the sun and the moon as your beautiful cosmic mirror to help yourself, remind yourself of that, doesn't matter. But doing these two things helps you bring yourself home into a fuller and more conscious awareness of who you really are. A magical, beautiful, infinite creator, a god, goddess of the universe. So that's it for today. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please like and subscribe below. Perhaps I will see you in August if you happen to be in Oslo, Norway, because the 12th of August I will be facilitating a live channeling event with Arjun, obviously. And there are still some tickets available. So if you would like to know more about that, please go to the description down below and read how you can find your tickets if you want to be a part of this. If I don't see you there, then I will definitely see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching, and I love you all so, 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 so much.